Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife, and as you guys know, we just finished our Disney Cruise vlog series from our trip on the Disney Fantasy, which was absolutely amazing. And so we actually wanted to kind of end that series with a review, sort of our thoughts of the entire experience on the Disney Fantasy for the first time. So today, that's exactly what we're doing.
This was our very first time on the Disney Fantasy. We have now been on all 4 of the Disney ships, and this video is actually going to just focus on the Fantasy.
And specifically the cruise that we just finished. We're going to talk about our itinerary, the service, the food, the entertainment, all of that kind of stuff. But there are some things we're not going to talk about, or probably only one thing we're not going to talk about, and that is Star Wars Day at Sea. And the reason we're not going to talk about it is that a lot of you guys have asked us and said, Adam and Sherri, you guys have now done Marvel Day at Sea and Star Wars Day at Sea. Which one's better? And that's a great question, but it's a question we want to answer in its own video where we compare the two, because we definitely have some thoughts. And so in this video, we're not going to talk about Star Wars Day at Sea on the Fantasy, but we are going to talk about everything else.
If you guys remember, our last cruise was actually on the Disney Magic, and that one was missing some of that Disney magic that we have come to expect from Disney Cruise Line.
And so going into this cruise, we were wondering, we're like, okay, is the Fantasy going to restore our hope and our belief in Disney and the service and the quality that we've come to expect, or is it going to mark maybe a trend downward, sort of like our experience on the Magic did? Well, just from the beginning, here's what we're going to say. It was amazing.
Faith restored.
Oh my gosh. You guys, we had such a good experience on the Disney Fantasy.
Yeah.
We're going to, again, go into all the things that we really loved about it. But when you cruise with Disney, one of the things that we say a lot is that Disney obviously is a premium brand, right? And with that, you pay a premium price.
Right.
It's one of the reasons that Disney cruises are more expensive than other cruise lines. But the hope is that what you get in return justifies the additional cost. We left our last cruise with Disney maybe not necessarily feeling that way, but we got off the Fantasy absolutely feeling like this was worth every single cent we paid. Everything was just magical.
The first thing we're going to dive into is the ship itself, kind of maintenance, cleanliness, whatnot.
I would say that the ship was perfect. Like,
I would agree, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, walking around, everything was painted, everything was taken care of. There was no frayed carpet. One of the things I remember, it was very clean. One of the things I remember on the Magic was even the outside, the benches on deck 4, some of the varnish was like chipped and worn away. Yeah, it was like scuffed. I walked around deck 4 of the Fantasy. I walked the entire way looking for that. Couldn't find it anywhere. Everything on the ship that we saw felt up to the quality that we expect from Disney. The Fantasy, obviously, it is the newest ship in the fleet.
And it felt like it.
And it felt like it.
But it isn't like brand new. I mean, it's been around for I don't know how many years, but like it's not brand new, but it definitely felt newer.
Yeah, so I thought as far as the upkeep, the maintenance, everything on the ship, totally perfect. I thought, yeah, I have no complaints at all.
Agreed.
The next part of our cruise that we're going to review, give you our thoughts on, is a big part of any cruise on any line. Sherri, we're talking about the food.
Yeah.
So on this cruise, we experienced the main dining restaurants. We went to all 3 of those. We experienced Palo for brunch. We experienced Palo for dinner. We experienced the poolside restaurants. We experienced like a lot of the snacks in like Cove Cafe and other places around the ship. But one thing we did not experience, you guys, room service.
We never did room service. We got home and we were like, we never ordered room service.
It's so crazy because this was the longest cruise we've been on, 7 nights. And I don't even know how this happens. But time just gets away from you. And even on a 7-night cruise, there's stuff that we got off the ship and we're like, how did we not do that?
No, I felt like the first 2 days were like, we've got time. And then like the last 5 days were just like, go. And then we got to the end and we were like, there's so much we didn't do.
Yeah, so that's crazy. We never got room service. But the whole rest of the food, Sherri, just food quality itself, what'd you think?
On par with everything else that we've experienced on Disney Cruise Line. A lot of the restaurants, they all have the same menu. So it's all the same food, but the same like quality. It was all great.
It was what we've come to know and expect from Disney.
Yep.
I agree. Palo brunch was amazing. Palo dinner was amazing. The main dining restaurants were really great. We
did have one semi not great.
It was, if you remember, we talked about this on the vlog, we went for dinner one night to Cabanas. Cabanas is normally the breakfast and lunch buffet restaurant, but then at dinner time, they turn into a table service restaurant where you get a menu, you get seated. It's where Disney Cruise Line trains some of the new, like, servers. We had the food No
The
complaints.
food was the same. Okay,
The
it
service?
was all great. The service was mostly good.
Yep. However, and we talked about this in the vlog, the restaurant just shook.
There was like a vibration, like the whole dining experience, and to the point where I, like, at the end of the meal was like, I gotta go. Like, it's making me feel, like, upset, because it was just, like, this constant vibration.
However, what's really interesting is a lot of you guys commented in that vlog
Right.
and said that's something that is unique to the fantasy. Like, several of you guys were like, there's clearly a problem with the Disney fantasy because that doesn't exist on the other ships.
Right.
And we're going to talk about this a little bit later with our itinerary on the ship. If you remember, there was a mechanical issue where the ship had to sail slower, and then they fixed something, and then we were able to go full speed. Now, we had dinner in cabanas after the ship was at full speed. So, so it was like vibrating really bad. So again, I would say if you're thinking about doing cabanas and you're on one of the other ships, give it a try
Right.
and let us know.
Because maybe it is just the fantasy.
Which is super weird.
And I did feel it a little bit at Paulo.
Disney fixed that. Whatever's going on with fantasy,
Get it together.
get it together and get it fixed. But other than that, that was the only even remotely negative dining experience we had.
Right, and it was still fine. I mean, we still ate our whole meal, and it was just at the end that it was like, okay, but let's go.
I will say, my favorite part about dining on this cruise, I think that somebody at Disney Cruise Line must be a LeggLife fan. Because for the first time ever, we had banana soft serve every single day of the cruise. Oh my gosh. Our last cruise, I think 1 or 2 days they had it. This time, every single day, there was banana soft serve. That is the greatest gift Disney Cruise Line could ever give me.
Also strawberry.
They did have strawberry banana. You did the swirl. I don't remember seeing some of the other flavors that I've seen on past cruises,
No, I feel like all they had was vanilla and chocolate and then strawberry and banana.
which for me, that's all they ever need to have.
Right, I was a fan.
Just banana. Actually, if they could just turn every soft serve into just banana, that'd be
No,
amazing.
but I like the strawberry.
Okay, we can keep strawberry. The other 3, just banana.
All right.
However, that was really nice. I loved that every single day. Like, I'd go down and be like, please, 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 yes, banana soft serve.
And he would text us all at our group, and be like, they have it again!
They have it again, quick, go! So yeah, food on the Disney Fantasy, absolutely up to par with everything we've come to expect from Disney.
Yep.
The next thing we're gonna talk about is the service. And when we say service, we're gonna kind of cover everybody. So we're gonna cover stateroom hosts, we're gonna cover servers in the restaurants, we're gonna talk about even like Cove Cafe staff and crew we interact with around the ship. Sherri Beth, service on the Fantasy, what'd you think?
Fantastic.
So good.
They were all great. We loved our main dining servers. They were both fantastic. Our stateroom host was phenomenal. The people in Cove Cafe, like, after day 2, like, knew who we were. Granted, we were there a lot, but, like, I mean, they knew who we were out of however many thousands of people on the ship, so.
I actually felt like, of all of the Disney cruises we've gone on, when I think of the service across the entire ship, everybody we interacted with, I think this was the best service we've received. So
I agree with you.
So, like, I would say that I have a stateroom host that I like better from a previous cruise. I might even say that we maybe have a server that I like better from a previous cruise. But when I think of everybody across the entire ship,
Like, as a whole.
I didn't have one bad
I agree.
interaction with cast or crew
Right.
at all on this entire cruise. And one of the things I wonder if this lends to, if you guys remember on either day 1 or day 2 cruise vlogs, I mentioned that a lot of the crew we had talked to had been on the Fantasy since the Fantasy opened, or at least the ones that we talked to.
Right, since the beginning of the Fantasy.
And so I wonder if, like, just these are people who have been doing their jobs a long time, are really good at their jobs, like what they do. But for me, the service on this ship was spectacular. I really loved everybody we encountered. Disney Fantasy, whatever you guys are doing for your crew on that ship, keep it up because it was amazing. Yeah.
The next area we're going to dive into is entertainment. Now, full disclosure, we really only went to one of the Broadway shows, and I skipped out on everything else that was offered because I went to bed.
Yeah, Sherri was not feeling really well on a lot of his crews, still battling some sickness. So in the evenings, like, she would go to bed and I would go out and enjoy the entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
So we went and saw Aladdin. As you know, or in case you don't know, on the Disney cruises, there's typically 3 Broadway style shows. On this cruise, it was Aladdin, it was Frozen, which we've seen multiple times, and then it was
Enchanted Dreams, I think.
I think something like that, which we've also seen before. So we skipped those 2, but we did do Aladdin. Sherri, thoughts on Aladdin?
It was just okay
I
for
agree.
me. So Frozen is so good.
Totally.
And really Enchanted Dreams, Believe, like the Gold Mickeys, they're all really, really good. Aladdin for me felt like they tried to take the animated and the live action and mash them together, and it didn't quite work. Like the storylines are different enough that it was weird.
Yeah, entertaining.
Sure,
like the quality
the
was
quality
good.
was so great.
Totally. But yeah, not my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
So we didn't go to the other 2 Broadway shows. They did have 2 variety acts on the show or on the ship. I saw both of them. I thought they were spectacular. One of the things that I hear from people is they kind of ask, isn't all the entertainment on the ship geared toward youth and kids? And that's not the case. And these variety acts were very adult. Like, they were super funny. They weren't like, I don't know. It was just, I really, really loved them. And so I thought the variety acts were good. They have musicians all around the ship as well, playing in different bars, playing in different venues. The ones that we saw were really good.
Yep.
And so to me, the entertainment on the ship was great.
Yeah, one of the MCs actually that was on the Magic with us, our last cruise, was actually on the Fantasy emceeing for this cruise, and so we kind of got to know him a little bit, and he's really great.
Yeah, his name's Matt. He's the adult club host, and so what he does, he kind of plans all the events for all the adults. To me, Matt is the best adult club host Disney has.
So good, yeah.
Disney, keep that guy. He is so good at what he does. And as adults who cruise with Disney without kids, the activities for adults on the ship are really important to us.
Right.
And I would say that from all of the trivias we did, to the different adult animation classes, to the musicians, to just everything for the adults on the ship, I loved. I thought it was great. Another 2 thumbs up from us for entertainment. And the next area we're going to talk about is our ship's itinerary. So Sherri, this was a 7-night cruise. Tell them kind of what our itinerary was.
So we had, to start off, we had 2 at-sea days, which were phenomenal.
Wow.
It was so nice. And then we went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then we went to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And then we had another at-sea day, which was a Star Wars Day at Sea, and then we went to Castaway Cay.
So starting our cruise with, well, first, even before that, overall, that itinerary, what were your thoughts?
It was great.
Loved it.
I loved it, and I would do it again.
Absolutely. Favorite itinerary we've ever cruised, without a doubt. Starting with 2 at-sea days, to me, was amazing. And I think
pros and cons.
Okay, let's hear it.
So pros, I think that it got us right into like the relaxation mode. But the problem is that I got us right into the relaxation mode, and then the other days that we were on the ship, I just felt like we were so just like, we can do it later, and we never actually did like a lot of things that we had really wanted to do on this cruise because we were just super chill.
To me, I don't know. One of the things that we talk about cruising with Disney is like decide the kind of vacation you want to have and then have it. And I think for us, we went into this vacation knowing that this was going to be more relaxing. That was our goal.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised that there's stuff like we never did putt-putt. Like the mini golf.
We really wanted to.
We walked by it, never did it, never ordered room service. But I also think that that's true with every single Disney cruise you go on, is that there's so much to do, but you're never going to be able to do it all. And so you kind of have to be okay with that. And so to me, starting with 2 at-sea days,
it was really wonderful.
It's instant relaxation.
Yeah.
And so I loved that. And then day 3, as Sherri mentioned, was San Juan, Puerto Rico, but it wasn't supposed to be. We were supposed to be in Tortola. We talked about this in the vlog. We got an email from Disney. I don't remember how many days before our cruise.
We were in Orlando.
We were in okay, so it would have been
2 days before.
Before the cruise, we get an email basically saying the Fantasy's having some mechanical issues. We're going to have to sail at a slower speed, which means we're not going to go to Tortola. Instead, we're going to go to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and every stateroom got a $150 stateroom credit in exchange for that. A change we were totally fine with.
Right.
A little bummed we didn't get to go to Tortola because it's a place that I would like to see.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful. However, let's talk about San Juan. What did you think about San Juan? Your first time there.
It was my first time there. I really liked it. I thought it was really pretty. It was really easy to like navigate. I mean, we just got an Uber and like they took us wherever we needed to go, and we actually had our Uber driver recommend a restaurant for us. It was phenomenal. So I really liked it.
Yeah, San Juan's very easy to get around. Where the ship pulls in, as you guys saw, is right there. So you could just get off the ship and just walk, and you're immediately in kind of a great area there in Old Town. We did the Bacardi Tour, which I think, as you guys saw, we loved.
It was so good. It was really cool. It was like we did the historical tour, and so they got to like, we got the whole background of how Bacardi started and where it started, and it was fascinating. I thought.
Yeah, loved that. So really liked San Juan. Us going there instead of Tortola, we had no problem with that change for us. And then the next day we went to St. Thomas. Sherri, thoughts on St. Thomas?
I really like St. Thomas as well, but I really, full disclosure for me, I literally got off the ship and walked like down the pier, and we ate and we did some like souvenir shopping, and then I got back on the ship because it was super hot.
Yep, and you basically just like relaxed on the ship.
Yep, I just sat by the pool.
And that was the day, if you guys remember, I took the sky ride up to the top of the mountain. I went to the Pirate Museum. I walked around. Bold statement, outside of Castaway, St. Thomas is my favorite port we've ever gone to. Favorite place we've ever visited.
It was beautiful.
Because the natural beauty of that place was stunning. Going up to the sky ride up top and being able to look out and just see all of the other islands, be able to see the ship down below, to me was such a cool experience. Next time we're there, I think what I'd like to do is actually rent a car. Some of our friends, Aaron, who was there with kind of a whole group from his church, that's what they did, is they rented a car right there at the port and they just like went driving. And I love that idea. Like, be able to go explore beaches on your own, have your own time. So I would go back to St. Thomas in a heartbeat. I'd go back to San Juan in a heartbeat. And then the next day was Star Wars Day at Sea, which we're not going to talk about.
We're going to skip right over that.
Skip on to Castaway Key. Sherri, Castaway thoughts.
It's always wonderful, but it was weird being back there. So we haven't been back to Castaway Key since the hurricanes a couple of years ago, and I was shocked at how different, specifically Serenity Bay was. Like, there was a quarter of the beach.
Yeah, wow.
Like, the ocean had come up so far into the beach. It was startling.
Some of the viewers, you guys had commented on that vlog, which just is obviously our most recent video that posted. You had said that we had a viewer that was kind of cool, was on the first ship back to Castaway after Dorian had hit. And one of the things that they were told is that it was that side of the island that was hit the hardest. And that was clear to me. We have talked about many, many times, Serenity Bay is perfection for us. Here's what I will say. After and I don't think I showed this, but after we went to Serenity Bay, we walked around, did a little bit of shopping, and then you guys went back to the ship. I hung out with some friends at the family beach.
Went back to the ship.
My experience at the family beach, significantly better than my experience at Serenity Bay.
And I would believe that, because
a lot better.
Serenity Bay, like I said, there's a quarter of the beach left. So it used to be, when we were there before, it was a row of lounge chairs like all the way down the beach, and then a whole bunch of space, and then another row of lounge chairs and a whole bunch of beach, and then the water. And this was one row of lounge chairs and a little bit of beach, and then the water. And it was so packed because every adult was there. Keeping
in mind also that we were on the Fantasy, which is a bigger ship. And
right.
Anytime the bigger ships are at Castaway, there's a lot more people than when the Fantasy or than when the Magic or the Wonder would be there.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, like, keeping that in mind. But it was, there's also just so much less beach for all of these extra adults to be on. It was packed. Like, we had to walk way down to find any chairs, and it was just like people.
If I went back to Serenity, or when we go back to Serenity, or Castaway Key, I would go look at Serenity Bay. I would spend my time at the family beach. I genuinely can't believe I'm saying that. I genuinely cannot believe I'm saying that.
But the family beach is so much bigger, and it has like all these little like alcove kind of areas.
That's the thing that I think I realized, is that there are so many places. Because I think that when we went to Castaway for the first time, again, not having kids, I just imagined 8 hours of screaming children.
Right, like we've been to beaches in California and Florida where it's
chaos.
Screaming children, and it's chaos, and it's loud, and there's no relaxation because it's just people everywhere and screaming.
But that's not the case at the family beaches at Castaway.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't know what Disney's going to do with Serenity Bay. I hope they fix it. To me, it is a vastly, I don't want to say subpar, less experience than it used to be, to the point that it would maybe keep me from visiting that part of the island, just because why would I go?
I would agree. Because it was loud and it was crowded, and the family beach wasn't.
Yeah, which is crazy. So, but other than that, the food, we love the barbecue.
Always.
On Castaway, so good. It is an unbelievably beautiful location.
Always.
So, still love visiting.
It was a beautiful day, sunny.
It was
We've
great.
been there where it was kind of cloudy before, and even then it's beautiful, and we still love it, but it was a beautiful day. And
actually, I'm going to use that to transition to something that we actually hadn't planned to talk about in this video because I forgot about it. Okay. Not this is a good thing. So we have heard our cruise left January 25th.
Oh yeah.
And then it cruised until February 2nd, I think we got back. 1st or 2nd? First? Yeah.
I don't know.
We have heard from people who were on cruises basically like 2 or 3 weeks before ours, that the seas had been horrible.
Right.
The ships hadn't been able to get to castaway.
Super windy.
Super windy. Dock. Even other Disney cruise vloggers who were on the ships, like I saw, like suffering from like seasickness stuff. And then the craziest thing happened, you guys. We had this 7-day window of perfect weather.
Almost perfect weather.
Okay, that's true. It did. So, okay, we saw rain 2 times on our entire cruise. Right. The seas were never bad.
No.
And so
I could feel them, but they still weren't as bad as like the San Diego run.
No, not at all. And so for us, like, we had heard horror stories. In fact, honestly, going on the cruise, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've been watching like videos from people who are just sick on this ship and on this cruise. How is this going to be for us?
So many reports of like them not being able to dock.
And it's just like, oh no, what's this going to be like? And it was perfect.
It was wonderful.
We had the best 7-day break. However, let's talk about the rain.
Okay.
This is a funny story.
It's a hilarious story. So, well, the second time it rained, it was right before the Star Wars Day at Sea fireworks. And so we all went outside to like watch the fireworks, and the deck was soaking wet, and they were like quickly trying to like squeegee it off because they were going to have thousands of people out there. And it was funny, but it all worked out. Fireworks were still a go. But the first time it rained, it literally rained for 60 seconds, and
so I wasn't there.
He was inside, he was like walking around the ship, and us 3 girls were out, and we had just started talking about maybe we should go find some food, maybe we should, I don't know, it was like 11:30 a.m. And so we were kind of starting to like gather our stuff, and we felt like drips, and we were like, oh no. And before we could even pick up our stuff, it was like torrential downpour. And so, I mean, we're all like in our swim stuffs, but still we're soaking wet. So we're quickly gathering. And then my lounge chair decided to stick its foot out and trip me. And so I went sprawling on the deck, and everybody's worried about me. But I'm still like laughing and trying to gather all my stuff. And we got under this awning, and it had stopped raining. Like, it was 60 seconds of the hardest rain I've ever been in. And then it was just done.
And it was funny because I get a text from, I think it was either Desi or Maddie. And basically they say like,
we just watched Sherri almost die.
Yeah, Sherri almost died. I'm like, wait, what? Like, a little more context, like some more story. But then she tells me that she falls, and it's like, of course she did, because like Sherri...
I mean, I do this on a regular basis, like nobody is surprised at this, but like, man, I just bit it, and it was, but I was laughing so hard, and then like, I was just like, I'm fine, like usually I bruise myself pretty bad, and I'm limping for days, and I was like, I had no problem until I went to get in bed that night, and I like kneeled on my right knee, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. So I bruised something in there, and it never showed, but it was definitely from that fall.
So we did have a little bit of rain, caused a little bit of an incident with Sherri, tumbling down the deck. And so other than that, the weather, it
was perfect.
We so lucked out. The seas were not bad. It was really great. So Sherri, we've talked about food, we've talked about entertainment, we've talked about service and the ship itself. So let's kind of start wrapping this video up. Overall on the Fantasy, any complaints? Is the Fantasy a ship you would sail on again? What are your thoughts?
I would definitely sail on it again. It was beautiful. It was well maintained. I loved every staff member on it, or cast member, crew member. I will say I still like the smaller ships better. It's very big. And I feel like it just took a very long time to get from one end to the other, which you're kind of constantly doing. Like, there's always things at either end of the ship. And so I felt like it was just a lot of like back and forth. But
so we'll probably make a video about this in the future, as far as like talking about what ship we like best now that we've done our Grand Slam. But I would agree with you. To me, the Fantasy is my second favorite Disney ship now.
Ooh.
If I had to talk about that,
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I know our number 1 is the same. Now our number 2 is actually our whole list would be the same.
Probably, yeah.
We'll talk about that more in the future. However, one thing that I really did like with the Fantasy is the Fantasy tends to sail longer itineraries.
Right.
Sails Eastern Caribbean, Western Caribbean for longer. They don't do 3 and 4 night sailings. We have really grown to like the longer sailings.
Yeah, I got a little spoiled with the 7. So the 7 was the longest one we've done, and I think I would be really sad if I had to go back to a shorter one.
I will say, it makes me want to keep doing longer. Like the 7 night, and I don't know, maybe this speaks to Disney, maybe it just speaks to the fact that we just really like cruising. Doing a 7 night makes me want to do like a 14 or transatlantic, or do the the Panama Canal or just something longer.
Yeah.
Being on the ship for 7 days to me wasn't like, oh yeah, this was a good amount. It's like, man, I want more.
Right.
Like, give me more.
Because there are so many things we still didn't get to do.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to do that and also have all the time that I want to relax.
And so that again speaks to the Disney fantasy and how much there is to do and just how great the ship is, that we were on it for 7 days with 3 at-sea days, keep in mind.
Right.
And there are still things on board that we didn't even get to do.
Right.
And things we didn't even realize we didn't do until we got home.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me as well, the fantasy was excellent. My review is just 2 thumbs up. Everything about it to me was what I love about Disney, right? The crew, the quality, and even some of the things that were kind of a bummer about this cruise. Sherri was battling sickness. Our friends Desi, our friend Maddie were battling sickness this whole cruise. So that's kind of a bummer because I didn't feel like we got to do as much together as maybe I expected us to.
Right, because I was like done at 10 p.m. every night. I was like, peace out, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, but again, none of that's the Disney fantasy. Like that's
No, that was me just being sick.
Yeah, and so for me, the fantasy, 2 thumbs up, amazing. Disney, you guys do it again. So impressed us. You have restored us because again, after our last experience, you guys know, we weren't like hating on Disney after our experience on the Magic.
No.
However, we just weren't necessarily as thrilled with that experience as we had been.
Right.
This redeems everything.
Yes, it does.
It was so awesome.
Yep.
So you guys, let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Have you sailed on the Fantasy? If so, what were your thoughts? What did you think about that ship? Was your experience the same as ours? And also, we want to hear from you guys. What do you think our order of favorite Disney ships is?
Ooh.
We'll make a video about that soon, talking about that now that we've sailed on all 4 of them, because I know our order is going to be exactly the same.
Yep.
And I want to hear from you guys. What do you think our order of favorite ships is? Let us know in the comments below. I also just want to say at the end of this video, we've had so many new people join our channel over the last month or so since we've left for our cruise. Welcome. It means the world to us that you would join our journey. It means the world to us you'd be part of our community and watch videos like this. Thank you so much for giving us your time. You guys, we love you. We'll see you on the next LeggLife video.